والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا إنك سميع مجيب الدعاء. اللهم إني أعوذ بك من علم لا ينفع وقلب لا يخشع ونفس لا تشبع ودعاء لا يسمع. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. How is everyone? Inshallah بخير. Everybody is doing well. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. I want to start by asking everybody to make dua. There is a lot of tests and trials and calamities, subhanAllah, in 1 week, which is what 2 or 3 days in between. So we all need to, and I hope everybody was doing it and keep doing it. And you need to do dua to the people of Morocco. 6.8 is a really bad earthquake. It's the same one that I witnessed in Turkey. 6.8 destroys cities. So that's number one. Then subhanAllah, 3 days later, you've seen the pictures of the hurricane that hit Libya. These things hasn't happened for years. This is, I think, the first time in the history of Libya. You always have to ask what? Why did Allah allow it to happen? What did I do? وَاتَّقُوا فِتْنَةً لَا تُصِيبَنَّ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا مِنْكُمْ خَاصَّةً. Beware of a fitna, of a test, of a trial. And the whole series, we did it here last year actually, about the sins. One of the sequences of sin is sins istakthuru zalazil. This is the second big one in less than a year. February was Turkey, now we are here. So you all have to, the first thing when you hear this is actually number one is ask Allah for forgiveness. Is it me? Is it my mistake? Is it my sin? I don't know. Allah knows, right? And definitely ask rahmah, mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those who lost their lives, Ya Allah, accept them as martyrs. Those who have lost family member, those who lost what they have, everything, homes. This is, I've seen it. I did see it in Turkey. It's very painful. Literally, there's no words to say other than alhamdulillah ala kulli hal. So don't forget this, and the same thing for the people of Libya. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us and save us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not test us with something that we can do. So I'm going to continue, inshallah, bi'idhnillah. Today we're going to continue with Surah Al-Ankabut. So I'm just going to do, as always, a summary so we all can continue. So Surah Al-Ankabut, we said it's a chapter in the Quran, spider, that actually was revealed in Mecca. So it's a Meccan surah. Some says the first 11 was revealed in Medina, but that's a weaker opinion. So that means I need the surah when I need my iman, my faith to be stronger. Like when I see this disaster, I need to go and read it. And I see why this is happening, or how when I feel low and I see all these people like died or injured and my iman gets shaken, why did Allah allow it to happen? Go and read it. So you normally go and read the Meccan surah when you really need to be stronger or it is weaker and I need to bring it back to where it is. So that's number one. Number two is, as we said again, why it is called spider. So it is called spider because there is the story of this or the mention of the spider. But why? We're going to cover this in the next one, bi'idhnillah. That's number two. Number three, the main message of the surah is in the beginning and in the end. It's the second verse in the surah and the last verse in the surah. أَحَسِبَ النَّاسُ أَن يُتْرَكُوا أَن يَقُولُوا آمَنَّا وَهُمْ لَا يُفْتَنُونَ. Do you think you're going to be going around telling people I'm a Muslim, telling people I believe, telling people I love Allah, all these things we say, and you will not be tested? Meaning, it's a given. It's a take. Nobody will be spared. Now, doesn't mean the tests and the trials, as I said many times, and I'm going to go ahead and repeat, that means it is only the things I don't like. It is not. When I'm healthy, I'm tested. When I am sick, I'm tested the same. Because when I'm healthy, what is He expecting from me? To use my health in His obedience. If I don't, then I fail the test. And what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala want from me when I have money? To use it, spend it in the way pleases Him. If I don't, I failed. So are you all with me? So anything don't look at your friends as, they've never been tested. Because you look at the test only the things I don't like. So the fact that I'm going to be tested, everybody is going to be tested, that's given. The question is how I will respond, which is in the last verse. And I'll take you through it as we go through the whole chapter. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala come and tell you the tests that we don't like. And now He starts covering it all the way. the main test that I and you face is, Bismillah. I covered it last week, and I said the week before, is me. I'm struggling against me. You all, and we all know when I'm doing something not good, I know I'm doing not good. Nobody didn't know. I mean, there is, but the majority of us know when I am lying, I know I shouldn't lie, right? When I am looking at something not pleasing to Allah, I know I shouldn't. But what do we say? Whatever, shaitan bring excuses. You know, I'm weak, I didn't mean it, what's wrong with it? All these things. So the first one is me. And that's why Allah said in verse 4 or 5, وَمَنْ جَاهَدَ فَإِنَّمَا يُجَاهِدُ لِنَفْسِهِ. The person who struggles for Allah against herself, against what she likes and wants, that's not pleasing to Allah, you're not doing Allah a favor. I say this to myself all the time. When I'm standing up and praying Maghrib, I'm not doing Allah a favor. Allah doesn't need my salah. If I did or I didn't, nothing is going to change. I'm actually doing a favor to me. So that's number one. Then he comes into the category of people. Who are my test in this life? And the first one is parents. And that's what he said. وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ حُسْنًا وَإِنْ جَاهَدَاكَ لِتُشْرِكَ بِي مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٍ فَلَا تُصَاحِبْهُمَا. And we have enjoined, we have made it obligatory. And we actually, this weekend on Saturday, the conference, how many of you have already registered? If you haven't, you better. It's one of the best ones coming to Southern California. All the institutes of America came to you, right? I was like, Ya Allah, alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, but we better deserve it, is how I say. So, and this is one of the topics we're going to be covering. Actually, this is my talk, is family. Family. So the second challenge is family, and family could be this way or this way. Meaning, I am the daughter, my challenge is my parents. And I could be the mother, my challenge is the children, or the spouse, or the immediate family. So the first thing, and that's why Allah said, وَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ. We have enjoined that the human being treat his parents good. There is no exception. We're going to cover it way more during the conference. Don't tell me you didn't know what they did to me. My answer is they are your parents. Then the opposite is, next is the people. And that's when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, some people, when everything goes well, they love Allah. When everything doesn't go well, they turn. And then they tell the people who always follow Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, don't do it, don't pray, don't put your hijab, don't fast, be like everybody else. I'll answer Allah on the day of judgment. It's not going to happen. لا تزر وازرة وزر أخرى. I wish I'll throw it all on you, or you throw it all on me. It's not. Allah will not allow it, because Allah is just. I did something not pleasing to Allah, you're not going to carry it on me, even if you want. In fact, every member of the family will run away from everybody. You will run away from your mother, or your father, or your sister, or your spouses and your dear friends. يوم يفر المرء من أخيه وأمه وأبيه وصاحبته وبنيه لكل امرئ منهم يومئذ شأن يغنيه. Everybody will run from everybody. Did you see the viral clip which everybody put it on social media when the moment of the earthquake happened? Did you see it? There were like two people sitting on a small, for those of you who haven't been to Marrakech, is one of the most beautiful cities. So they call it the pink city, because all the buildings are pink. They have like a code. So these two men were sitting, looked like a street and another small street. They were sitting, chit-chatting, I don't know. And then another person came, said salam to them and walk. As the person walked, the earth starts shaking. It looked like there was a security camera. And literally this verse, I just shared it with you. يَفِرُّ الْمَرْءُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ. Everybody starts running. Nobody says, where is my son, where is my friend? The two who were sitting together, they ran. So the test I have, and the meaning the test, I disobey Allah, I don't do what He wants me to do, is because of people. Especially living in the Western world. I don't want to be different. I want to be like everybody else. I don't want to be singled this way or that way. Remember, those people who makes you disobey Allah, they will never come to your rescue. They will never come to mine. Then Allah takes us through, which we covered last week, the story of Sayyidina Nuh. Now comes the tests of the prophets, one by one. And we said Sayyidina Nuh, his test was very few people listen to him. You talk to your friend and you keep telling her, don't do that, don't do that. Nobody listened. How long you kept telling her? A month or two, a year or two? He stayed 950 years. People didn't listen to him. Didn't listen to him. فَمَا آمَنَ مَعَهُ إِلَّا قَلِيلٌ. Very few people. So Allah is telling me, when I want to continue on this journey to get close to Allah, it's not easy. Whoever tells you it's easy, you know what I say? You've never done it. You've never woke up at Fajr when the Fajr is 4:30 in the morning. Don't tell me it's easy unless Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you something special. But in general, it is not. It's a struggle, right? Wearing your hijab, being very different. Everybody is going out and having fun and I am not. Everybody watching this and watching that and they're talking about it and I am not. It's not easy, right? But Sayyidina Nuh was also a minority. Very few. They say maybe less than 50 people for 950 years. But he kept going. Remember the Energizer battery last week? Keep going. Don't give up. Keep going. Keep Allah in front of you and see the akhirah and see what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you. Then come to Sayyidina Ibrahim. His test is not only family, but it's his people also. His father, and there is no mention of the father in Surah Al-Ankabut, but he actually was so hard on him that he said, leave, get out from here. If you're not going to get out from here, I am going to stone you. That's in Surah Maryam. None of your parents said, or my parents says, if you're not going to do this, I'm going to stone you. Basically, I'm going to kill you. Now come in what we're going to cover today. And here we are. So what did he say, Sayyidina Ibrahim? Kept calling them, reminding them of Allah. Look around you, see the beauty of the creation. They didn't do it. Not only they didn't do it, not only they made fun of him, they were actually very harsh. قَالُوا اقْتُلُوهُ أَوْ حَرِّقُوهُ. Kill him or throw him in the hellfire. Or throw him in the fire. That's actually the only prophet where his people punished him. The other says, get out from here, which we're going to come later. But Sayyidina Ibrahim, they did the fire. They actually put it all together. And he was thrown in it. And they were watching. Any one of you who cooked, every time, I'm close to a fire, whether it's a fireplace or the stove, remember this. They were building it, huge fire, called everybody, and they threw him in it. As he was being thrown, literally being thrown, Jibreel came to him. And he said, do you need anything? He was going to the fire. Do you need anything? And he said, from you? No. From Allah? Yes. And that's when he said his famous statement that we all say, Hasbi Allah wa ni'mal wakeel. Allah is enough for me, and He's the best I rely on. Immediately they put him. What happened? قُلْنَا يَا نَارُ كُونِي بَرْدًا وَسَلَامًا عَلَى إِبْرَاهِيمَ. Immediately here, it says, you know what, fire? Allah talked to the fire. Everything will speak on the day of judgment, except who can answer me? Exactly, except my tongue. Everything will speak. The skin will speak. وَقَالُوا لِجُلُودِهِمْ لِمَ شَهِدْتُمْ عَلَيْنَا. Allah said this in Surah Fussilat. We will say to our skin, why did you speak against us? Why did you witness against us? Go and read it, it's in the Quran. And the skin will answer, قَالُوا أَنْطَقَنَا اللَّهُ الَّذِي أَنْطَقَ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ. Allah made us speak, who He made everything speak. So here, Allah talked to the fire. And He said two things to the fire. He kept it going. So interesting. You still see the fire. He did not make it go down. Kept. And He was in it. But He talked to it and said, قُلْنَا كُونُوا يَا نَارُ كُونِي بَرْدًا وَسَلَامًا عَلَى إِبْرَاهِيمَ. Hey fire, be cold and peaceful on Ibrahim. So he came out from the fire, he's fine. He didn't feel it, neither cold, neither heat, and he had no fear. Now, come here. Now he decided, you know what? These people don't deserve for me to stay. And this is the verse, you see it in front of you. فَآمَنَ لَهُ لُوطٌ وَقَالَ إِنِّي مُهَاجِرٌ إِلَىٰ رَبِّي إِنَّهُ هُوَ الْعَزِيزُ الْحَكِيمُ. You all read this. When you read, say to yourself, okay, what do I see in this verse? I'm going to just give you a little bit explanation on this verse, just so when you read the Quran, you pay attention. فَآمَنَ لَهُ لُوطٌ. Lut believed in him. First question, why Lut? Why not someone else? I'll come to it. وَقَالَ إِنِّي مُهَاجِرٌ إِلَىٰ رَبِّي. Here there is a different opinion. Who said, I'm leaving to Allah? Is it Sayyidina Lut or Sayyidina Ibrahim? Some says both. Some says it's probably Sayyidina Ibrahim. Some says it's Lut. It doesn't matter. Because they left, both of them. And then, إِنَّهُ هُوَ الْعَزِيزُ الْحَكِيمُ. You all read, right? And he says, so Lut believed in him, and Ibrahim said, this is here. It's in the other says it's Lut, because there's no name. The name, this is actually from the translation. In the Arabic, there's no name. وَقَالَ إِنِّي مُهَاجِرٌ إِلَىٰ رَبِّي. I am immigrating. Anything you see, quote unquote, that's not from the Quran. That's the translator added for us to understand. He alone is no, because it's huwa, al-aziz al-hakim, al-mighty, al-wise. What line or what word catch your eyes when you read this verse? Anyone. It could be all of them, but everybody will look at it differently. Which word? I'm sorry? Muhajir. Because what did we say? The title of this class is Let's Understand the Quran. So where I'm going to go? Right? When Allah says, when the people didn't believe, when the people were making fun of him, he said, I'm going. This you and me. We look different, we're strangers, we want to practice, not everybody, you're struggling, the youth here are struggling, I'm one day here, one day here. Where do I go? Where do I go? This is my country, this is where I live, right? So what is the meaning of Hijra? That's the question. So nothing, the Hijra after Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam migrated to Medina, no more Hijra? No more migration? Who can answer me, yes or no? Yes, there is still Hijra or no Hijra? Where? No, just raise your hand. Where? So I'm going to share it with you. The hadith of Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam, which is really, I really loved it. He said, and actually this is one of the nice comments I found it in one of the tafsirs. He said he did not leave because he wanted a better life. He didn't leave because of his skin color. He didn't leave to do a business. He didn't leave to have a better life and better earning. He simply immigrated for the sake of Allah. None of us in this room can claim that we, for us immigrants, we came for the sake of Allah. I mean, I can say whatever I want to say, but reality, we came for a better life. And there's nothing wrong with it. So the act of immigration, to be for the sake of Allah, has to be for the sake of Allah. What does that mean? Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam said this, Sayyidah Aisha narrated, he said, La hijrata ba'da al-fath. There is no hijrah, there is no immigration. You leave from one country to the other, like they left Mecca to Medina, after al-fath, after they conquered Mecca. This is a hadith on Sahih. So what is that? So how do I live this verse? Remember, we said every verse in the Quran talks to you. So how do I live this verse? Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam said, no hijrah. Now in the hadith, the answer, he said, وَلَكِنْ جِهَادٌ وَنِيَّةٌ. Struggle and your intention. Struggle and your intention. Meaning, and this is a very common scenario. You're waking up in the morning, the alarm went on, and it is, let's say, you put it at 5:30 for Fajr, right? And what happens usually? You're too tired, and you turned it off. You turn on the light, but you're still very tired, and you're in your bed. That struggle, get up, and then you say, another 5 minutes, get up, come on, you're not going to get up. That's jihad. That's the struggle. So don't be so sad unless you didn't get up regularly. But the fact that you're struggling, you throw the blanket and then you bring the blanket back, you turn on the light and then you turn it off. And you hear, for example, for the young here, you hear your mom says, it's salat time. I was like, oh, why did she say that? This is all jihad, because inside you You want to get up, but there's another voice inside you saying just a little bit more. So that's one. Same thing. I want to put my hijab. I don't want to put my hijab. What is all the struggles? I don't want to say this, but I want to say this because I'm so upset with her or him, and I really want to say, but don't say it because that's not pleasing to Allah. Do you know these struggles? We go every single day. That's all jihad. That's hijrah. When is the hijrah? You really immigrated when you get up from that bed. You really immigrated when you controlled your tongue. You really immigrated when you put that hijab on your head and on your body. Because he said, لا هجرة بعد الفتح. There's no physical. Because even these days, wherever physical you're going to go, it's almost the same struggle. Maybe a little less. Right? Globalization, everything is online. And niyyah, that's the second one you all need to learn. Niyyah. Learn for every act you do that is pleasing to Allah. Make sure you have at least one or two intentions. Because the niyyah makes the act, the daily act, makes it act of worship. You go and take a shower, make it ghusl. That's an act of worship. You need to cook dinner because the family is going to come, make it to take care of another Muslim. That's an act of worship. You're studying, you hate studying, but you say, I need to study because my parents will be happy. That's an act of worship. So jihadun wa niyyah. Okay? So here, he immigrated, right? Second, and this is why I'm going to spend a little bit of time about these two. Whenever you leave something for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, your comfort, your beauty, your money, you can do this transaction and you will make double, but you didn't do it because that's not pleasing to Allah. Rest assured. Yani, have not a single minute of hesitation. Allah will give you better. Allah will give you better. And some of you are literally nodding your head because you've lived it. For sure I have lived it. And I'm sure many of you have lived it. And Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam said the following. إِنَّكَ لَن تَدَعَ شَيْئًا لِلَّهِ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ إِلَّا بَدَّلَكَ اللَّهُ بِهِ مَا هُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكَ مِنْهُ. This is Imam Ahmad narrated this. Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam saying to you and me, you will never leave something. So I have to leave something. Usually it is something I like or I want, or everybody else is doing. So it's hard. It's not something I don't care. It's something I want. And the reason you are leaving it is not because you got bored and now I need something new. No, I love it and I want it, but I know Allah is not happy with it. And I'm leaving it for the sake of Allah. Illa but. Now listen to this. Allah will replace him or her with something much better. So here you go. I'll give you a couple of examples. Applies to every age in this. So this man proposed to you, and you really liked him. Everything ticked the boxes, except one. He's not pleasing to Allah. And you said, Ya Allah, I can't do this. I wanted, I like, I love, and then whatever. And finally you said, no, I'm not doing it. By Allah, because that's hadith of Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam. He will give you something better. You're going to tell me, well, I'm still not married. Because that's how we think. And I said, better doesn't mean, he said, I'm going to send you another husband. You will feel much more comfortable the way you are. He's going to open for you doors. You don't know what it is, where it came from. Knowledge, money, wealth, status, or nothing, but you feel very good internally. That's huge. So learn to give up things for Allah, for no other reason. For Allah only. Sleep, when you wake up for Fajr, you gave up sleep. Especially if you slept late. You go and do this 2 rak'at and see how blessed your day will be. But we don't pay attention. And the blessing is not material only. The blessing is feelings. You feel good. You helped people. It's like, what happened today? It's what you gave up in the morning. When we are fasting and you miss this, whatever you like during the day, and you give it up because you're fasting, whether it is Ramadan or others. Look at the feeling afterward when you're putting this date in your mouth. من ترك شيئا لله أن تترك ما تركت شيئا لله. So learn this hijrah. This is hijrah. When I am invited to a place, there are two options. One is I like it, I love it, more fun, but I know it's not pleasing to Allah. Or even it's doubtful. In another place, maybe not as much as I like, but I decided to go to this. You left your, or you migrate, you moved away your fun and your life. Why? For the sake of Allah, not for people. That's not going to apply. Not for people, and not for because you are bored or you cannot get it. That's not for Allah. It has to be in your hand, right there. You know, when you got your credit card or the money and you're going to buy this, and then you say, I don't need it. That's not pleasing to Allah. And you stopped. That's your hijrah. So وَقَالَ إِنِّي مُهَاجِرٌ لِرَبِّي. The reason I said this is because look what Allah gave him. When Sayyidina Ibrahim left his father, left his family, left his country, walked all the way, right? And Allah says He gave him Ishaq wa Yaqub. So He gave him children and grandchildren. Because Ishaq is his son, Yaqub is his grandson. Not that only. وَجَعَلْنَا فِي ذُرِّيَّتِهِ النُّبُوَّةَ وَالْكِتَابِ. We made him the father of the religions, any religion. If you go to any interfaith, everybody talks about Ibrahim, alayhi salam. We gave him wisdom, we gave him authority, and we made them. And we rewarded him in dunya and akhirah. Why? Because he sacrificed for Allah. Sacrifice is a jihad, is a test. So that's a test of me. Okay, so look at this, and then the other one. Now the story of Lut. وَلُوطًا إِذْ قَالَ لِقَوْمِهِ أَتَأْتُونَ الْفَاحِشَةَ مَا سَبَقَكُمْ بِهَا مِنْ أَحَدٍ مِنَ الْعَالَمِينَ. The story of Sayyidina Lut, for those of you who memorize the Quran, is one of the most challenging stories because it's so much similar. When you memorize the Quran, you get into this. Is Lut on which one? Fil A'raf. This is in Hud. This is in Al-Ankabut. This is in Naml. Very, very similar. Subhanallah. Who is Lut? And why this is related to Sayyidina Ibrahim? Who knows? Who is Lut? Who is Sayyidina Lut? I'm sorry? He is his nephew. So the Sayyidina Ibrahim and the father of Sayyidina Lut are actually brothers, right? Haran. And Haran died young. So Sayyidina Lut was an orphan. And he grew up in the house of Sayyidina Ibrahim. So they were close, buddies, as we say these days, right? The test of Sayyidina Ibrahim is very different than the test of Sayyidina Lut. They both immigrated. Sayyidina Lut stayed where? In Jordan, close to the Dead Sea these days. It's called a village called Sodom. And he stayed there for a long time, and he married from them. So he was part of them. And then they start disobeying Allah. The only people in the Quran that their prophet did not say, أَعْبُدُ اللَّهَ مَا لَكُم مِّنْ إِلَهٍ غَيْرُهُ. The only prophet that when he talked to his people, he didn't say, worship Allah, you have no other prophet and no other God. The only one. It's always the same in a different ways. أَتَأْتُونَ الْفَاحِشَةَ. Do you do this immorality? What catches your eye in this verse? I'm sorry? No. مَا سَبَقَكُمْ بِهَا مِنْ أَحَدٍ مِنَ الْعَالَمِينَ. Nobody else before you have done it. And they say, historians say, they were the first nation on this earth that they committed homosexuality. That's why I said nobody before them. Nobody before them. They were not only this, they had 3 misdeeds. And it's only in here Allah described it. Look at this one. So the first one is immorality, right? And he described it here. Again, quote unquote is not in the verse. It's in the commentary of the translator. Remember when Lot rebuked the men of his people, you certainly committed a shameful deed that no man before you. Now he described them. 3 things. First, homosexuality. أَتَأْتُونَ الرِّجَالَ أَإِنَّكُمْ لَتَأْتُونَ الرِّجَالَ. You have intimate relationship with men. In another places, he said men and you leave your woman. Second, وَتَقْطَعُونَ السَّبِيلَ, they were robbers. And third, وَتَأْتُونَ فِي نَادِيكُمُ الْمُنكَرَ, when they get together, and this is for us, they speak immoral and in a way that is not pleasing to Allah. Three things. Homosexuality, they were thieves, and they spread immorality even in character. There was a fourth one hidden in this verse. They were arrogant. فَمَا كَانَ جَوَابَ قَوْمِهِ. He was telling them, imagine this, right? Imagine I come to the masjid and I'm talking to you and I say, sister, please don't do this. Whatever is this, right? So what am I? I'm worried about you, right? And I'm explaining. The sign you are arrogant or you are not is how you respond. If you said, oh, really? Okay, I'm not convinced. You're not arrogant. You're not convinced. Fine. Better you say, really, I didn't know. Jazakillahu khair. I'm going to go and check. You're not arrogant. Third, even better, you say, really, Jazakillahu khair for teaching me. Arrogant, when you say, who are you to teach me? What do you think of yourself? Look at yourself. When you start responding in a harsh way, then absolutely you're arrogant. And that's what they said. فَمَا كَانَ جَوَابَ قَوْمِهِ. He's telling them, don't do that. He's not lying. He's not saying things they didn't do. They do it publicly. Now remember, when you admonish someone, then they have done it publicly. You've seen it, not someone told you. You've seen it. So he was telling them, you're doing these three. They said, you know what? What? Fine. This is how if you read the verse with your heart, you're going to say, fine, go and get us the punishment. Basically, do we care? What do you say? Look at how he responded. And this is to me and you. What did he respond? قال رب انصرني على القوم المفسدين. Ya Allah, give me victory over the corrupt people. When someone attacks you, and you're right, don't respond harsh. You're like them. Turn to Allah. Dua. Don't underestimate the power of dua. We don't. We run to people. And let me plan how I'm going to do it. Let her wait to see how I'm going to do it. This is what we do. Or I'm going to show him who am I. Right? Yeah. That's full of arrogance. Going to turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number one, and you say, Ya Allah, if what they said, the way they responded is true, I deserve it, then I deserve it. Then show me and forgive me. If it is not, unsurni, give me victory. Now, this one, also interesting, Allah did not respond right away and he gave him victory. Normally, when the prophets ask Allah, especially in Surah Al-Anbiya, the prophets, you will see it immediately. فَاسْتَجَبْنَا لَهُ. Like when Sayyidina Zakaria asked Allah, Ya Rabbi, please give me a child. Rabbi la tadharni fardan wa anta khayrul warithin. Please don't leave me single. And you're the best one who gives. Immediately. فَاسْتَجَبْنَا لَهُ وَوَهَبْنَا لَهُ يَحْيَى. Immediately. We responded. We heard. We gave him Yahya. We corrected his wife. This one is not. Here what happened? Allah sent the angels, but he didn't know. There is a hidden message to all of us. So Allah did not, Sayyidina Ibrahim was on the way of the angels to Sayyidina Lut, but they did a stopover. They stopped at the place of Sayyidina Ibrahim. And they told Sayyidina Ibrahim, you read it in front of you, we are going to go and destroy that place, the place of Sayyidina Lut. Look what Ibrahim said. Inna ahlaha kanu zalimin. So the angels said to Ibrahim, we are going to go and destroy him. The people are wrongdoer. Qala inna fiha Luta. There is Lut. How are we going to destroy one person? Scholars here said it beautifully. They say Sayyidina Ibrahim argued with the angels. They said, if there is a place where there is 100 believers among so many disbelievers, will you destroy it? They said no. How about 50? They said no. They said 14? They said no. He said, Inna fiha Luta. One person saved them. One person. Is that you? Is that me? One person. He said, Inna fiha luta. And angel said, we will save him and those with him. So what happened? It's a very nice story. You only really need to read this. So the angels came in. What is the description of the angels? They are very beautiful. In general, the most beautiful creation of Allah is not human beings. Even Sayyidina Yusuf is not. It's actually the angels. Because when the woman in the city of Sayyidina Yusuf saw him, what did they say? They cut their hand, they were looking at him and says, this is not a human being, this is an angel. So when the angels came in, his daughter, Sayyidina Lut's daughter, saw them, ran to her father. She knows, and says, Daddy, meaning we're in big trouble. Because these are men, and these are very beautiful men. And the whole city, that's what they do, right? And that is why, see what's the next one. لما جاءت رسلنا لوطا, when the angels came to Lut, and this is repeated in more than one place, سيء بهم وضاق بهم ذرعا. He felt so bad. And he said, oh no, I'm translating our language. Oh no, we are in big trouble. What I'm gonna do? What I am gonna do? They responded, what do I learn? Whenever you feel afraid of something you anticipate, but you are connected with Allah, don't be scared. He'll save you. He'll protect you. But you have to be connected. At the time of ease, when you know Allah, at the time of need, He's waiting for you. تعرف إلى الله في الرخاء يعرفك في الشدة. Know Allah at time of ease. So in the winter, I'll give you an example. This hadith of Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam, know Allah at the time of ease, He'll know you at time of difficulty. What does that mean? When winter and Maghrib is at 4:30, I'm fasting. Piece of cake. What is the big deal? Right? I knew Allah and I obeyed Allah at time of ease. When Ramadan comes in and the Maghrib is at 9 o'clock, you don't know how you did it. That's the response. So here, he came and he was upset and he was worried. What is going to happen? Who told the people of the town that Sayyidina Lut gets beautiful men? His wife. His wife. And that's why she was destroyed. You didn't do it, but you, a'udhu billah, somebody didn't do it, but he helped people. So you take a friend, drop her or him in a place of disobedience. You didn't go, but you helped them. You're responsible. They send you a video and he said, don't watch it, and you forward it to people. You didn't watch it, but you forwarded it. So his wife did that. And then the angel says, لا تخف ولا تحزن. We're going to save you. And this is repeated in the Quran. إلا امرأتك. Except your wife. كانت من الغابرين. كانت من الغابرين. She's from the one who will perish. قدرنا إنها من الغابرين. من الغابرين. We have made it. So be careful. When you don't do things, but when people tell you about it, says, oh, not a big deal, it's okay. I don't like it, I'm not doing it. You're helping people disobey Allah. When you talk about things, you didn't do it, but you talk about it, you're disobeying Allah. من الغابرين. How did Allah destroy the people of Lut? And who knows the detail of it? So it tells you what they were doing, how unpleasant is this in the sight of Allah. It's the only nation was destroyed this way. Who knows how they were destroyed? So the earth flipped upside down. How? Allah sent Sayyidina Jibreel to that town. And Sayyidina Jibreel has 600 wings. You know the hadith. That each wing filled the space between the heavens and the earth. How big? Don't ask me. From the tip of his wing, he actually, you know when you plant and you just tilt the earth, that's what he did. He just tilted. And what happened? The people, now remember what you see in earthquakes. The people were lifted from the earth all the way to the up to the sky, that the people in heavens and in hell, they heard them crying, their voice crying and shouting. But they didn't stay there. They turned back. And as they were coming back, what did Allah send on them? The only rain. حجارة من سجيل منضود. Not in this verse, in another verse. It's rain. You know when you have what do they call it when you get rain with hail? Thank you. Have you had hail? Well, you probably don't in California, but where I lived, it's the norm, right? God, only Allah will save your car and your roof. It comes like a stone. Literally, you hear it. Stone hitting you. That's what Allah said. Stone, but not just a stone. Sijil mambood, very hot. Add to it. This was very scary to me. Every stone has the name of the person who that stone will hit and die. Every stone has the name. What did they do? So just how unpleasant to Allah what they did. فَجَعَلْنَا عَالِيَهَا سَافِلَهَا. Everywhere you go, you read the story of Sayyidina Lut, you will see this. إِنَّا مُنزِلُونَ عَلَى أَهْلِ هَذِهِ الْقَرْيَةِ رِجْزًا مِنَ السَّمَاءِ. Rijz is the punishment. In other verses I shared with you, you go and read Surah Hud. An-Naml, the ants, you will see it in details. So whenever you see hail or a very heavy rain, Ya Allah protect us. Ya Allah protect us. And then the last, and I'm going to end up here, and next week, inshallah, probably next week we're not going to have a class, the week after, if Allah allows. إِنَّا مُنزِلُونَ عَلَى أَهْلِ هَذِهِ الْقَرْيَةِ رِجْزًا. Look at the next. Why did Allah is telling me all this? It's a sign for you and me. When I read the Quran, it's not just a book, and I am going to done, and I did the khatmah. It's a sign, it's a remembrance. Am I that person? Have I disobeyed Allah to the way that all my people will be destroyed? Have I asked Allah for forgiveness? I sinned, we all do. But did I ask Allah for forgiveness so everybody will be saved? When you read these stories of the prophets in the Quran, is not a story, just a story. It is an admonition to you and me. And you say, Ya Allah, please don't make me the people of Lut. Ya Allah, don't make me live. And I do this or I do that. And that's why one of the du'as of Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam, iqbidna ilayka bighayri fitna. Take me back to you before I get tested. Tested, a severe test. So what was the test of Sayyidina Lut? That the majority of the town did it. Because in another verse in Surah Al-Dhariyat, Allah said, فَمَا وَجَدْنَا فِيهَا فَأَخْرَجْنَا مَنْ كَانَ فِيهَا مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. We sent the punishment. Before that, we moved out those who were Muslims. And then Allah says, فَمَا وَجَدْنَا فِيهَا غَيْرَ بَيْتًا مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. The whole town, there was nobody except one house. So don't worry when you are alone in that university, in that school, in that place, Allahu Akbar, in that place of work, that you're the only one. You're the only one who prays. You're the only one who doesn't lie. You're the only one who doesn't do this. Don't worry. You'll be saved. Because he was alone. Even his wife didn't support him. So when you read the Quran, remember, especially Al-Ankabut, what is the test? We absolutely are going through the test of Sayyidina Lut. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. جزاكم الله خيرا. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه تسليما كثيرا. Again, don't forget this weekend